This vintage, there's a sense of excitement in the Granite Belt in Queensland's southeast. Pickers are harvesting varieties that many Australians have not heard of or tried before, and probably can't pronounce.
We'll try the Viognier. This is the Strange Bird. Have you heard about the Strange Bird promotion?
We've read through that.
These alternative varieties have been around for a few years, but this year, for the first time, tourists are being encouraged to seek them out as a group.
Don't just stay with Chardonnay and Cabernet. Try something different. You know, we've got in the area Sangiovese, Verdelhos, Pinot Gris, these new varieties or newer varieties that have come to the area, and try. It's an experience.
Some of these grapes come from Portugal, from Spain, from Italy, even Greece is of interest, and France.
We hope that that they'll become household names, just like Pinot Noir.
I think everybody's trying to be a little bit innovative and trying to find the next big thing.
There are more than 50 wineries in the Granite Belt, and they rely heavily on tourism. Last year, though, winemakers Jim Barnes and Peter McGlashan thought the region could offer tourists something no other wine region had thought of.
The concept came about by a discussion between a couple of people as to how do we market these not so common varieties, these alternative varieties, and so we had to come up with something different, and we thought, you know, let's do an alternative wine trail.
With a map that tells them where the alternative wines hail from in Europe, where to find them in the Granite Belt, and how to pronounce them, tourists set off on a wine treasure hunt.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of an adventure, and it's a bit quirky, and it's it's different. It's a bit alternative.
Is it serious though? Is it serious stuff for the people who are involved?
Yeah, it's deadly serious. We're very passionate about these varieties and the other varieties, and we're very serious about it.
We're definitely wine tourism businesses. Even just speaking for Ballindine Estate, we're the largest in the area, and 80% at least of our sales are to tourists. So looking after the people who come here and giving them reasons to keep coming back is of utmost importance to all the businesses in the Granite Belt.
In the Alsatian region, they tend to get them riper, so you're getting more of that stone fruit, the white peach. And if you notice on the nose, it's got lovely pear juice.
17 wineries signed up for the Strange Bird Alternative Wine Trail.
It's a great idea, and for a relatively new wine region of Australia, it's great to see them being very innovative.
Every area is different, and we're trying to make people understand that we are different.
I think the new generation of people, they want different things, so here's our opportunity to use these alternative varieties to market to that group of people.
I think they will open the mind to say, wow, this is good, or I like this Estilos wine.
The Strange Bird will do more for this region, more in terms of putting it on the wine maps in Australia and putting it in the minds of wine drinkers than any number of trophies or gold medals. I'm absolutely convinced of that.
Why do you think it will do that?
Because it's different. You know, the wine industry in Australia is highly competitive and cluttered with labels. If our producers are going to compete, they can't do so on price, on volume, on any of those other traditional critical factors. So if we're going to be noticed, we've got to be different, and that's the great thing about Strange Bird. It's different.
So what's an alternative wine variety, or a Strange Bird?
Basically, they're a grape variety that are not commonly planted. Often they're in areas, but most people don't know that they're around, and can often be used for blending. But they're not commonplace. You won't find them in every cellar door. You hardly ever find them on the bottle shop shelves. So they're quite unusual.
Wine consultant Andrew Corrigan says promoting alternative wines is a good way for small players to get noticed.
There's a sort of a cliche about the Shiraz, Chardonnay, Riesling, Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir, and in fact there are 7 of those famous varieties. They're known as the Magnificent 7 in the trade, and so many of Australian wine producers have a production that's devoted to those famous 7, and yeah, it is crowded, so someone that comes along with some new variety is always going to be seen as having something different and something exciting.
Ballindine Estate, there are 3 Strange Birds to try, an Italian red called Nebbiolo, and 2 whites, the Italian Silvana and the French Viognier.
I take the example of Viognier, which we're very proud of. We've made Viognier now for 4 or 5 years, and 2 years in a row we've been top in Australia with Viognier. So it's fabulous. New varieties can bring new fame to your area. People say, what the hell is that? Nebbiolo. You know, well, it's an Italian variety. They make a fabulous wine out of it called Barolo. They're proud of it, and we just need to find a way, the way of making this wine virtually perfect.
Silvana has been winning awards for Ballindine Estate for 20 years, and it's all down to a mistake.
When it was planted, it was sold to my father as something other than what it was, and he realised quite quickly, this would be about 35 years ago, that it wasn't the variety he thought it was. So that was an interesting way of getting an alternative variety in the vineyard. But the others were by choice, and that's what he was looking for, something, the new thing for the Granite Belt region or Ballindine, something that we could really call our own, that other areas weren't growing.
The wine trail's nearly 6 months old and is catching on.
It's helping to bring people into the area because it's a point of difference for us, and we're actually promoting that we've got all these exciting things here.
I think it makes people feel a little bit like they're a bit of a wine judge, that they can actually taste the unusual flavours.
There's actually a type of consumer called an experimental consumer. There's another type of consumer called an enthusiast, and they don't mind spending a little extra, and they love buying wine from small boutique producers and at Saturday night with their friends boasting about some new wine and some new producer that they found. And there's a lot of those consumers around.
The feedback that I've been getting from the customers has been fantastic. Everyone I talk to have got their brochure in their hand, and they're pronouncing. More people are pronouncing the grape varieties better, and they love the concept.
Ridgemill Estate has one strange bird, a Spanish red called Tempranillo.
These were planted in about 2000 by the previous owner, who was a Spanish guy, and he had a passion from his homeland about the wines that it produced. And so when the current owners looked at purchasing the property, they knew of the wine because they had travelled to Spain, and so that was one of the reasons that they bought the property. I think that it's going to be a variety that that people will come to know and drink on a regular basis. But I don't think it'll reach the dizzying heights of Shiraz, but I think it will step on the toes of some of the other varieties.